Chris Hogan here. I've spent a lot of time on the road speaking with people about their millionaire success stories. Whether I'm at an event talking with someone focused on a plan or talking on my podcast about self-made millionaires, one thing is very clear. Most people have no idea what the average millionaire looks like. You're about to step into the life of someone who crossed over to millionaire status on their own terms. And while their net worth is in the millions, their self-worth is off the charts. It's the result of compound discipline over time. So here we go, people. It's the next episode of Millionaire.
Well, I'm glad you're here. What's your net worth?
1.4.
Cool. How much of this 1.4 million did you inherit?
Nothing.
0. Okay. How much of it did you steal from people?
That's an interesting story. My name is Terry. I am 72 years old. What I learned in childhood was to be afraid of money, and a big part of my story was getting rid of what I call the poverty mentality. You're just stuck in that childhood pattern of thinking you don't have enough. And I was raised on a farm in southwestern Minnesota near a little town called Ivanhoe. I hardly ever remember a day when I didn't hear my dad worrying about that we were going to lose the farm. I didn't do well in high school. I was at the bottom of my class. There was a lot of turmoil and chaos in my home. But somehow I made it to college. I took out student loans. I worked 2 jobs, and I actually flunked out the first year. So I went back to college. I barely made it through. And then I taught in a little country school in Minnesota for 2 years to pay off my loans. And then I went with my girlfriend to California to teach for a couple years. And when I was there, I met a lady who had taught overseas, and we became friends. And she said, "Gee, you have such a spirit of adventure. You ought to go overseas to teach." So that started a very wonderful, grand adventure. But a big part of my journey about becoming wealthy and financially solvent are my years in Korea. I walked with a man and every night went to Bible study with him, and he was into Dave Ramsey and investing. And he said, "Gee, you're making good money and you ought to start investing it." And I immediately said, "Oh no, I'm a farm girl." And he said, "That was then and this is now." And I decided to start investing a small amount in 5 mutual funds every month. I'm really excited now to take Dave's class starting in March, the Legacy Journey. Like I said, I had to change my attitude that I was always going to be that poor little overweight farm girl that was wanting people to love me and accept me, but you can change. Well, I think the wonderful class about financial peace is an excellent tool for people so they can get a budget and become aware where their money goes. A lady that I'm mentoring recently took that class, and she's just on fire now, and it's just fun to, look back and think about that. So when I mentor people and they say, "No, my teacher told me I could never do this because I'm stupid," or whatever, I tell them I'm an overcomer. Well, the most money I ever made in my teaching career was $50,000. So I'd like to encourage people that make that amount of money or even less, that if you get a plan and you study Dave Ramsey's materials and books and listen to the tapes and his radio show, which I love, that's a highlight of my day, that no matter what your income is, you can start to save money and invest it. But I set out with a goal of having money as a tool so that I can help other people and I can contribute to the world. So it's a mindset.
So did you catch that? Hard work, dedication, and following a plan. These are the kind of decisions that you can make today, not tomorrow, not when it seems easier, today. So if you need more inspiration, more fuel in the tank, more reasons to keep going, go check out my podcast, Retire Inspired, because I'm all about challenging people who want to accomplish their dreams.